Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Starfire here in Tukwila, just south of Seattle. Ross Fletcher and Taylor Graham warming you up for the U.S. Open Cup semi-final between Seattle Sounders FC and Chicago Fire, two of the most storied teams in the US Open Cup in terms of MLS. Taylor, very good evening to you. It's great to be back here at Starfire, isn't it? A wonderful atmosphere, guaranteed.
Absolutely guaranteed. Anytime it's a semi-final, there's a little bit of additional energy and electricity, but small venue, Starfire, this team loves it. The fans love this venue. It's a great spot to be.
As I mentioned, these teams have fantastic records in the US Open Cup. Chicago Fire have won 4 US Open Cups all the way back since 1998. Seattle Sounders since 2009 have 3. So only DC United kind of sandwiched in between them. It just goes to show how much this tournament means to both teams, Taylor.
Absolutely. The Sounders have always taken this tournament with some seriousness dating back to the USL days. If the Sounders get through today, that's 5 finals in 6 years. How many? 7 semifinals in 8 years, I think it is. It shows you the mentality that this coaching staff and this organization is built on, that on any given day they want to win, and that's the winning mentality that's going to carry them over, hopefully, into the finals after this evening.
And you look at the MLS form, Seattle have just gone back to the top of the Supporters' Shield standings and to the top of the Western Conference again following a recent 2-0 win over Houston. Chicago Fire coming in off the back of a 1-0 win over New York Red Bulls. They're 8th in what is a very congested Eastern Conference. The lineup's a little different tonight. Let's talk about Seattle. And Obafemi Martins is on the bench. He was red-carded in the last game. Clint Dempsey isn't playing tonight, but still Seattle, you would think, have always found a way, haven't they, under Ziggy Schmidt, to get the job done here at Starfire.
Yeah, it's the opportunities for a bunch of guys up top tonight. You see Chad Barrett and Kenny Cooper. They've lived in this U.S. Open Cup and taken their opportunities. And has that been able to translate into consistent time yet in MLS competition? No, that's because they're playing behind Clint Dempsey and Obafemi Martins. But this is a group that's done well and performed well here at Starfire, and they know what it takes to win on this field. And it's different. It's different than what it is at CenturyLink to win here as it is in Seattle.
Yeah, unbeaten here at Starfire. One of the reasons is this atmosphere you can probably hear right behind us. It's magnificent. As the players make their way out, a little word on Chicago Fire. No Mike McGee tonight. He's suspended. A huge miss for Chicago.
Yeah, no Mike McGee. They're certainly going to lose him. But this Chicago team is an interesting one. Yes, they're 8th in the Eastern Conference, but they're a tough team to beat. They don't lose many games, and that's what this competition is all about, is just tonight. Everything that's happened in the past is irrelevant. So this is a team that doesn't lose all that often, and that's what they're probably coming in to do. Frank Gallup has motivated his team by saying that they are the underdog.
Okay, well, extra time and penalties tonight, if required, for the right to face Philadelphia Union away in the US Open Cup final. It is a crackling atmosphere. The whole of the game is coming up very shortly here on SoundersFC.com, but first, time for the national anthem.
Around 4,000 fans crammed inside Starfire. It's virtually noise from about 40,000 fans here, maybe a slight exaggeration, but the corrugated roof above the Emerald City supporters that you can see there really keeps the noise in. We have around 25 Chicago Fire fans that have made the journey here as we take a look at the starting lineups tonight for the right to play in the US Open Cup Final. Seattle Sounders much changed from their 2-0 win over Houston Dynamo in Major League Soccer. Up front, Kenny Cooper and Chad Barrett will provide the firepower, and the incentive for Jalil Anibaba and Marco Papa is clear, playing against their former clubs. Power on the bench with Obafemi Martins and Chad Marshall if needed in central defence. No Clint Dempsey tonight. As for Chicago Fire, coming in with a record of 4-5-13, they're the draw specialists in MLS. The big miss, Mike McGee, suspended, having been sent off in their previous round of the NASL side Atlanta Silverbacks. A new man wearing number 30 is Razvan Kocic. He's a Romanian international. He'll occupy the middle of the field alongside Matt Watson and Harry Shipp, who scored twice against the Sounders in a terrific performance despite being beaten back in June. Look out for his craft and his guile. One other note in that Sounders starting lineup, number 5 on his back, Andy Rose, getting only his second start of the season. He had meniscus surgery earlier on in the campaign, which had set him back, but he's been a very, very consistent performer. 2 goals for him in the US Open Cup over the last few years for the Sounders, who tonight, as you can see, are in the pitch black jerseys. Chicago Fire will be in their traditional red. So the stakes never really higher than at this point of the competition. Seattle getting here by virtue of a 5-0 opening round win against PSA Elite. Then moving on via penalties against San Jose here at Starfire, and then a 3-1 dramatic, nervy victory over Portland Timbers. Chicago Fire beat the Hounds, Columbus after extra time, and then the NASL side Atlanta Silverbacks 3-1 on the road. So it's 2 MLS teams with some of the richest US Open Cup history between them, going toe-to-toe tonight. 7 trophies and 10 finals combined over the last 16 years. Who will make it through to the promised land against Philadelphia Union? The early tempo from Seattle, and a first touch for Kocic for Chicago Fire, who, as I mentioned, come here as something of a draw specialist. 13 draws in their 22 MLS games, but they've made it work in the US Open Cup this year. They kept a very consistent lineup all the way through until the semi-final stage, but plenty of changes tonight, as there are for Seattle. So a test of the strength in depth of both teams for sure. And Ibaba wins that one above Quincy and Amarikwa. It'll be Gonzalo Cigares with the throw in for the Fire. Now a look at Harry Shipp. Elegance in control. Man who did so much damage back in June that effectively kept Chicago in that game June the 7th at Toyota Stadium, Toyota Park. This is Amarikwa going up with Zach Scott. Loves those kinds of battles. There's Chicago, who's settled reasonably well here. That's a good ball for Grant Ward. Palmer's on the overlap. He's got a chance to cross, just Shipp near post, and it flashes through the area. That was a really good ball from a very swift move from Chicago, showing early on that they're prepared, very much so, to get forwards tonight. There has to be a winner. If it's level at the end of 90 minutes, extra time, and after that, if it's still tied, it'll be penalty kicks. Cigares up from Merriquois. Slips on this Starfire turf, which hasn't been the best this year. Sounders head coach Ziggy Schmidt saying that not ideal circumstances, but the grounds crew have done a very good job of making it as slick as possible for the players. And the conditions, well, it's a little sultry here in Seattle. It's not hot, relatively humid for the Pacific Northwest as Barrett almost finds Nagel. He'll get a second go. Andy Rose taking on Watson. And through it goes for Brad Evans to come forwards again. Now Barrett looking for Kenny Cooper. And Sean Johnson with safe hands. Good lay down by Merriquois for Ship. Both teams just feeling each other out in these early stages. I mentioned how Seattle love this place. Really is a second home for them. Unbeaten at Starfire ever since coming into Major League Soccer and playing in the US Open Cup. And they've drawn themselves out of some sticky situations in the last few seasons and always seem to power through. Here's Evans, who's playing at left back tonight. With Leo Gonzalez rested, he's on the bench. Now the other fullback, Yedlin. Plenty of news surrounding him, which we'll get to in due course. It's broken up and Ship can come forwards now for Alex. And Ibaba away. Very effectively. Nagel almost released until he was wrapped up. And now there's a chance for Chicago to come forwards with Grant Ward. Palmer. Ward. Down the line comes Watson. Will do well here. He's done very well. And the cross in the end not finding the intended target of Quincy Merriquois. But that's a couple of times that Chicago have done well down their right-hand side. And Alonso wins a throw in. What you will see tonight is Harry Ship, the rookie, the 22-year-old, looking to combine up front with Quincy and Merriquois, playing as more of a withdrawn forward. And now a chance for Kenny Cooper to get on the end of this one, waiting for support. Barrett pounding into the area. Papa joining him. Cooper, Barrett! Couldn't miss! Just 5 minutes on the clock. And Chad Barrett, against his former side, plants Seattle's front foot firmly forwards. Well, it was a lovely ball in, and Lavelle Palmer was rooted in concrete. Chad Barrett will not get a more simple opportunity all season. And for Seattle Sounders, it's a flying start. Excellent work down that right wing by Kenny Cooper. Released with that ball down the right-hand side. Looked up, waited for the support, timed the run perfectly. So Chicago Fire, having started promisingly, find themselves pegged back in this semi-final. What will their response be now? They've scored plenty of goals in the US Open Cup this year. Marco Papa trying to release Andy Rose. 2 against Pittsburgh Riverhounds, 4 after extra time against Columbus, and 3 at Atlanta Silverbacks. But it's Chad Barrett who has made the difference. He has been one of those savvy signings by head coach Ziggy Schmidt in MLS, starting the first 7 off the bench then getting a starting role when injuries and suspensions started to bite for Seattle. 4 goals and 1 assist in the regular season. I think this possibly as priceless a goal as he's scored for the Sounders. It's Cooper, daintily away from Laurentowicz. Samari can't really get it clear. It's Yedlin. He's left Alex on the seat of his pants. Crowd love that one. The goal scorer Barrett. And then finally Alex does get in and is able to clear for Chicago Fire, just to release a little bit of pressure. That one's gone out of play. Will be a Seattle throw. Rose looking for Nagel. Now Ship, that's neatly done. Watson looking for Ward, getting in behind Brad Evans. And I thought he would have a go there, Grant Ward. He found himself in an excellent position. And again, Chicago using that right-hand side to good effect. Brad Evans was just caught ball watching for a moment. And a more confident guy on the ball might well have tested Stefan Fry. And a let-off for Seattle, but just a sign of what Chicago Fire can do. This the 10th semi-final for Chicago Fire. They lost in the semi-finals last year to DC United. As Ameriqua comes forward, this is Kocic. Ship making the run, and Ibaba clearing. Both teams with fantastic records, as I mentioned earlier. Seattle 3 times winners in their 5 years as an MLS side. They also reached the semi-finals in their final 2 years as a USL outfit, 2007 and 2008. Evans has lost it here. He's been dragged out. It's Ameriqua, and Kocic didn't want it there. It'll be a goal kick for Seattle. Razvan Kocic making just his 2nd start for Chicago Fire, having signed in the middle of July. A vastly experienced 31-year-old, 50 caps for Romania, looking to make Chicago tick through the middle of the park. Evans away, finds Papa, one of those former Chicago players. Alonso under pressure from Kocic. Stefan Fry will clear. Up to Papa, whose only goal in the US Open Cup came in the last round against Portland Timbers. Barrett looking for Cooper. Lost Cigares, Kenny Cooper! And that is a decent save from Sean Johnson. Not sure whether it was going in, but certainly Sean Johnson didn't want to take any chances with that one. And it's the first corner of the game. So it'll be Marco Papa to take this one. Andy Rose at the back post, and he'll go up and win it. And there it is it? Great save by Sean Johnson. Pouring, clutching that one out as it was threatening to loop in from Andy Rose. Well, that now is 3 very good chances for Seattle Sounders. And Sean Johnson has been on his mark. Nothing he could do with the goal. Sturdy tackle there by Jalil Anibaba. Marco Papa helping up Quincy Ameriqua. 6 goals, 3 assists for him in the regular season this year. Also scored in both the game against Columbus in the Open Cup and Atlanta Silverbacks to help Chicago through. Oh, Ward, that's untidy. Kenny Cooper on now for Nagel. Has he got the legs on Laurentowicz? Oh, he tried the effort from distance. And no harm in that from 18 yards from Lamar Nagel. Seattle starting to wind it up in the first 13 minutes of play. The only goal from Chad Barrett in the 6th minute. It's the Brazilian, Alex, finding a pocket of space, beating a challenge from Papa, and that wasn't the easiest save to make for Stefan Frei, as it bobbled in front of him. Sound work by the Sounders keeper. Recorded his 7th clean sheet of the season against Houston Dynamo at the weekend. Marcus Hanneman had started the US Open Cup as the Sounders goalkeeper, but a mid-season injury has set him back. Not quite sure what Samari was trying there. Just a long, hopeful punt, which gives Seattle possession again. It's Yedlin, who rather softly returns the favour. This only the second meeting between these teams in the Open Cup. The last time they met, the only other time, it was the final back in 2011. A record crowd on hand at CenturyLink Field to see Seattle win by 2-0. Here's Harry Shipp. And that's his less favoured right boot. He does some magical things, Harry Shipp. Just 22, definite candidate for Rookie of the Year this year. Came to prominence with a hat-trick and an assist at New York earlier in the season in a crazy 5-4 game. And has gone on ever since. Had a little bit of a lull, but coming back to form. Here's Chad Barrett, the goal scorer. Nagel was trying his best to stay onside. Evans wins it back. Barrett. Now Nagel, who switched flanks with Marco Papa. One other footnote to the US Open Cup finals. Mentioned 2011, the Sounders beating Chicago. In 2010, Seattle beating Columbus with 2 goals from Sana Nyasi, who is now a Chicago Fire player following a recent trade with Montreal. He is fit. Coach's decision to leave him out today. He is a name forever imprinted in Sounders folklore, Sana Nyasi, for those heroics. Laurentowicz's free kick just smashes into Chad Barrett. Frankly, could have gone anywhere. Cigares. It's a rather hopeful one for Amarikwa. Yedlin under pressure does well. Papa wins a throw in. There is DeAndre Yedlin, who today agreed a move to Tottenham Hotspur of the English Premier League. More on that in a moment. Here's Amarikwa, still going. Good save by Frei, and it spills out to Alonso. Still going here, and Alonso gets in a tremendous challenge on Harry Shipp. That was a big moment for Chicago Fire, as Kenny Cooper is now dragged down by Razvan Kocic. And that's a welcome to US soccer for the Romanian, who goes into the book the first of the day. Well, this is the yellow card here for Kocic, quite clearly from behind. Cooper is up and okay. Rose, Evans on the overlap, two in the area. Larentovic's away. Scott battling with Ameriqua. Sounders players coming back from offside. And now a chase on again for Quincy Ameriqua, who's been lively early on. Had that chance a moment ago. Forcing a good save out of Stefan Frei. So Chicago haven't been dimmed by that concession of the first goal. Here's Grant Ward. And now Larentovich. Jeff Larentovich normally operating in central midfield, but Chicago have had real problems in central defence this season. They did trade, of course, for Patrick Iani and John Kennedy Hurtado. Alongside Bakary Samari, they've mixed and matched is the kindest way of putting things. And Larentovich, who has played central defence earlier in his career, has been pressed into action there. Patrick Iani has made the trip, but he's the odd man out, the 19th player. Of course, they're only 18, including the substitutes. As Cooper tried to again find Barrett, this time from a deeper position from where they combined for the early goal. Kocic for Ship, instant control from him. It's asking a lot of Grant Ward. And out of play. So 1-0 to Seattle Sounders with nearly 20 minutes played in this US Open Cup semi-final. The big news coming today about DeAndre Yedlin agreeing a transfer to Tottenham Hotspur. He won't be going quite yet, though. The Sounders keeping hold of him until the end of 2014. And then possibly a little bit longer. Tottenham in their release today saying that they're expecting him to be with Spurs at the start of a 2015-16 season, which of course in England starts in August. Here's Chad Barrett offside. The assistant referee was just waiting for Barrett to take a touch before raising his flag. And that will be a Chicago Fire free kick. So DeAndre Yedlin gets his dream move at the age of 21 after a fantastic World Cup. We saw him play 3 times as a substitute. It's a transfer fee undisclosed, but expected to be in the millions of dollars. And that is a win-win, really, for Seattle. They develop one of their own. They get a very healthy fee for him. And Yedlin gets to play in arguably the best league in the world. An Ozzy Alonso foul here has brought a free kick for Quincy Ameriqua and Chicago Fire. And this is a dangerous situation. And Ameriqua continuing to remonstrate with Jair Marufo, the referee. Jeff Larentovich can hit these like a rocket. Harry Shipp is over it too. And Razvan Kocic is in conversation. Well, it's the brains trust here, isn't it? How much discussion does there need to be over a free kick? We'll find out whether it works out. Looks like it's going to be touched for Larentovich to try and change the angle to get round what is a 6-man wall. Here it comes, and it's struck, deflected. Good reaction, saved by Stefan Frei, who hardly had a moment to see that fizzing past the wall. Ameriqua tried to follow up. And it's into the area where Scott will clear it. That was the 3rd shot on goal for Chicago Fire. And so far, Stefan Frei has held firm with a couple of dramatic saves. And now Gonzalo Cigares is brought down by DeAndre Yedlin right on the edge of the area. And it's another Chicago free kick. You might remember that June 7th match was a rather ill-tempered affair. It was tempestuous, to say the least. A couple of red cards, John Kennedy Hurtado and Obafemi Martins. In comes the free kick, and Fry will punch solidly clear. Now Yedlin again, and he's taken down by Alex, who mistimed his challenge. Free kick, nothing more. That's what Brad Evans is complaining about. Unhappy that Alex stopped the flow of the Sounders, who were trying to counter. And from Chicago's point of view, not a bad foul to give. And that is a very ambitious free kick effort from all of 70 yards by Ozzy Alonso. If that had gone in, it was goal of the tournament, maybe goal of the decade. Incredible vision with Sean Johnson off his line. It's rare you see goals from free kicks, even rarer from inside the other half. What's the old saying? If you don't shoot, you don't score. Free kick Chicago. No advantage played, even though Harry Shipp was in a good position. Here is Shipp again. It's a stern challenge from Ozzy Alonso. Took a whack for his troubles, but he's okay. Marco Papa almost ran kindly for him. And Kocic will go back to Sean Johnson, who was one of 4 players in the game today who started the 2011 US Open Cup final. 2 of them now playing, of course, for Seattle, Anibaba and Papa. The other man who started for Chicago that day, Gonzalo Cigares, is at left back. As for the Sounders, the holdovers from that game, Ozzy Alonso, Brad Evans and Lamar Nagel. Zach Scott was an unused sub that night. Here's Barrett. There's a man over here if Nagel can win the header. And Simari, despite getting it clear, won't get any joy because there was a free kick for the Sounders earlier in the play. Here's Yedlin for Nagel. Quick pressing from Chicago, forcing him back, and then it's Zach Scott giving it away. Ward held on to it, touch too long. Lavelle Palmer made a really good run down the right-hand side. So it stays Seattle leading by the only goal here, Chad Barrett in the 6th minute. Another rare old night at Starfire in the US Open Cup semi-final here on SoundersFC.com. Papa almost brushed off the ball. So strong though in possession. So too is Alonso. Now Cooper. Well tackled by Alex. And then given away by the Brazilian, and Yedlin almost capitalised. Well, you can join fellow Sounders fans and watch the Red Green leave it all on the field against San Jose Earthquakes on August 20th. You can get tickets today at SoundersFC.com. Seattle in a run of 3 games in 7 days. It's a punishing month in total. 7 matches in all. Not that it's much easier for Chicago Fire, who after this game will be getting on a plane to Montreal, travelling the sum total of around 5,000 miles. So don't forget your bonus numbers for your air miles, Chicago players. Agricultural from Simari, and that allows Cooper to make himself a real menace, but Laurentowicz was the calmest man inside Starfire. There's a chase on here for Rose. It's Alex who picks up and then loses his footing. So the game just settling down, really, after a whole flurry of chances. Both teams with 4 shots each, and 3 on target for Chicago, 2 for Seattle. Both keepers have been worked. Sean Johnson making a fine save from Andy Rose's looped header, and also turning Kenny Cooper's shot round the post from about 17 yards. And as for Stefan Fry, good low save from Quincy Amarikwa, and also to batter away a deflected Jeff Laurentowicz free kick. Here's Cooper, still going, and the referee's pulled it back, it won't count. There was an offside flag up on Kenny Cooper, and it will be brought back for a Chicago Fire free kick. Tidy finish, tidy finish. Harry Shipp scooping the ball beautifully into the path of Ward. Evans away for Barrett. So Kenny Cooper with that goal that was chalked off for offside there, but already leading the way this year for Seattle in the US Open Cup. 4 goals is matching the league, or rather the cup leaders this season. So 1 more will put him out on top on his own. He's made really, really valuable contributions. 2 goals against PSA Elite. Got the only goal in the 1-1 draw with San Jose Earthquakes. The match eventually going to penalties. And the second goal against Portland Timbers, and it was a critical goal in extra time in the quarterfinals. So while he hasn't been a regular starter in MLS for Seattle, he's certainly been worth his weight in the Open Cup. Half an hour gone, you're with Ross Fletcher on SoundersFC.com. Seattle leading Chicago by a 1-0. And DeAndre Yedlin brought down by Alex, and I wonder if this will be a card now, because that's 2 or 3 times that Alex has fouled in fairly dodgy circumstances, nothing more than a free kick. Let's see again here, Yedlin just purely beat him for speed, and it was a late lunge from Alex. Surely the next time we'll bring a booking from referee Jair Marufo. No vanishing spray for the Open Cup. So Jair Marufo making sure that wall is back the full 10 yards. A little bit of manual labour won't hurt him. It's Papa, and it's always going wide. Man who scored against Houston last week and had a cracking free kick earlier in the season against Real Salt Lake. And wouldn't he love to do some damage against his former club? So as I mentioned, 2 storied teams in the Open Cup. Chicago going for a record-equaling 5th win in this competition. They found success in their inaugural season in 1998 when they did the double by also winning MLS Cup. Their 4 trophies then, just 1 behind Bethlehem Steel and Maccabi Los Angeles. 2 names from the vault. As for the Sounders, who are looking for their 4th title, they could join Chicago if they went all the way, alongside the other teams with 4, and I love the names. Fall River Marksmen, Greek American AA, and also Philadelphia Ukrainians. got 2 balls on the field here. Jay Marufo attempting to play 10-pin bowling. Didn't manage to knock over the Chicago man. Into Nagel. Can he turn? Samari will stop him. Alonso can hit it, deflected! And it's out for a corner. I think it was Lorenzovic who got behind it. Excellent defending by the Chicago Fire man. That was on target from Ozzy Alonso, and it was travelling at some speed. Marco Papa's corner, second of the game. Looking for Rose again, it's there! Second time of asking for Andy Rose in just his second start of the season. It's a second goal for Seattle Sounders. Seattle fans in raptures. Have they planted 1 foot in the US Open Cup final? Beautiful delivery. Where was the marking? Rose didn't matter. Rising beautifully to thunder it past Sean Johnson. His first goal of the season. And my, it was pretty. Well, Chicago Fire will be asking questions on the marking. The man that had the best attempt from the earlier corner simply was not picked up. And a 6 feet 2 inch man like him doesn't need a second invitation. And the Sounders now with their foot on the gas, and Samari has just kept that from going for a corner. Instead, he's conceded a throw in. Right in front of the beer tent, where I'm sure plenty will be offering Andy Rose a pint after the game. Cooper. Barrett came near post for that, as the ball went far. Evans beating out Harry Shipp. Now Watson, good tackle on Alonso, and he'll have a go. Rasps one from fully 30 yards. Matt Watson, former Vancouver man. Well, Chicago certainly know how to get themselves out of adversity. They've done it this year in the US Open Cup, not more so than their first game against Pittsburgh Riverhounds, when they had an awful time of it because of the weather. The game was postponed for 2 hours. They eventually came out despite some waterlogging. Played the first 45 minutes. They were 2-1 up at the break and about to resume for the second half. And then the weather drew in again, thunder and thunderous rain. The referee had to call the match. And Chicago won through. Play's been brought back here, and the fans don't realise the ball was out way before. And Chad Barrett, unfortunately for him, didn't realise how he would have loved a second of the game. Now he knows. Throw-in's got to be taken again. Rose. Now there's a chance for Nagel, is there? It's come last off Lamar Nagel. Gonzalez Cigares in the last-ditch defending. So work to do for Chicago. Very comfortable, healthy position for Seattle. That was the earlier call that was pulled back, but the players had stopped well before that. Chad Barrett. Another one of those players playing against his former club tonight. Those little battles all over the field. Palmer giving the ball a headache with that one, and it was always going to be Zach Scott's ball, wasn't it? I don't think we've ever seen him duck a challenge. The man who's made more US Open Cup appearances than any other Sounder. Barrett looking for Cooper, stolen in out behind Samari. Gets his head on the ball, vitally so. Chicago have been loose at the back. And that has been their Achilles heel all season. 34 goals conceded in their 22 regular season matches. Talked earlier about how Frank Yallop had switched around his central defensive duo. He doesn't seem to have found a combination that's clicked. Ward holding off Papa. Two in the box. Americois was about to load up for the overhead kick. It's Alex. Stefan Fry watches that one all the way wide. 6 shots of the evening in Chicago, matching the tally from Seattle. Well, we're feasting on the atmosphere here at Starfire. It's raucous, as it always is, despite there being only 4,000 people here. Cooper looking for Barrett. Samari is the stronger of the two in that challenge. Won back again by Seattle. Barrett digging in. Alex, lovely ball. Americois making a good run. Holding it up for Kocic. Now Harry Shipp. Can he turn Anibaba? Sticks to him like super glue. Solid defending. Chicago, good movement up front with Americois and Shipp. Here they come again, down the left-hand side. There's a chance as there as Evans can clear it. Segaras have made a really good burst to the byline. Chicago continuing to press. They're not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination. They have had efforts. But it's Seattle who've been more clinical. Palmer. Tackled by Evans. Starting to settle into his role at left back. Brad Evans. Played there rare occasions for the Sounders. And now given away by Samari. That's a horrible pass. Marco Papa has Barrett outside of him. Cooper on the far post. Here is Kenny Cooper looking for Nagel, and it's Gonzalo Segaras tracking back. That was an excellent run by Lamar Nagel, and that man, Kenny Cooper, did his level best to find him. A scything move by Seattle. Now we'll see who's picking Andy Rose up at this corner. Looks like Kocic. Marco Papa, right on top of the keeper, Sean Johnson. Well defended. And now Grant Ward should know, you never offer Ozzy Alonso the sniff of a challenge. Cooper's offside, Chicago free kick, but Ozzy Alonso there in feisty, typical fashion. Segaras likes to get forwards, finds Shipp. Didn't realise Americois had come close to him. He'll get another go here, Harrison Shipp. Linchpin of the side. Ward looking for Lavelle Palmer, sneaked in. Kocic keeps it alive, and then Anibaba's taken out by Lavelle Palmer. Referee says no free kick. Still 2-0 with goals from Barrett and Rose. Cooper working very hard. Can he keep it in? Yes, he can. And then Jeff Laurentowicz concedes the free kick. That is endeavour at its utmost from Kenny Cooper, chasing down what looked to be a no-hope situation. Free kick taken. Nagel. Back to Evans. Wanting to switch the angle of attack. Papa always available. Barrett looking for Rose. Again, lovely idea by Seattle. Excellent run in behind by Andy Rose. Needed a slightly more deft touch from Chad Barrett. Well, at the other end, it was a sure header from Zach Scott back to his goalkeeper. Rose. Laurentowicz has played here onside. Chad Barrett. Kenny Cooper in the area. He had time, Barrett, to measure the cross. And Chicago Fire really let off there. Laurentowicz getting himself out of a hole. The back line for the Fire all over the place. And not for the first time this evening. Needed a better cross from Chad Barrett. And it would have been 3-0 and possibly game over. On such things can games switch, as we saw for Seattle against Houston at the weekend when Stefan Fry came up with a penalty save at 0-0. Seattle went on to win it. Given away again by Laurentowicz. Such a reliable, dependable presence. By the way, for the latest Lamar Hunt US Open Cup results and information, you can visit ussoccer.com. You can also keep up to date with what's happening on Twitter at US Soccer. Papa. Rose has made a run ahead of him. He's got in behind Cigares, 2 in the area. Chad Barrett coming near post. Laurentowicz half away. Cooper. Samare swipes it clear. Again, it's Andy Rose from those midfield positions with the raking runs that are causing Chicago palpitations. We're into 1 minute of added time in this first half. Ward in from Merriquois. Now Alex. He's got Palmer imploring him for the ball wide right. Doesn't look that way. Harry Shipp. He can conjure. He really is a magician through the middle of the park. Kocic has left his foot in on Enibaba. Referee Marufo says get up. Cigares bombing forwards. Now Shipp. Onto his left foot. And Enibaba away. And the counter-attack is on. Chicago have pushed so many men forwards. Papa can find Barrett here. It will get there. Cooper's behind him. And Laurentowicz managing to cut it off. Chicago living dangerously at the end of the first half, which has belonged to Seattle Sounders Football Club, who lead by 2-0. Chad Barrett in the 6th minute. Andy Rose with a header in the 34th. The Sounders with 6 shots to Chicago's 7, but their quality in the final analysis has told. Chicago have had efforts of their own. Quincy Amarikwa with a low shot from 18 yards, well saved, and Jeff Laurentowicz with a deflated free kick that was seen to by Stefan Fry. But it's Seattle who've been giving it more bite in the final third. Chicago fluttered along the back line, and at the moment it's Seattle Sounders who are heading to the US Open Cup final against Philadelphia Union. Well, let's have a look at those goals then, shall we, from this first half, which has offered much And this was it from Kenny Cooper's assist for Chad Barrett, who timed his run perfectly. Cooper holding it up just long enough, and statues along the back line for Chicago. Neither Palmer nor Laurentowicz going with Chad Barrett, and I doubt he will have a better opportunity than that all season long. And then this was the second goal. Beautiful delivery by Marco Papa, and Andy Rose firing it in for his first goal this season, making it now 3 goals in the US Open Cup for him. Back from a meniscus surgery in the middle part of the season and back in the goals, and well deserved. So Seattle leading, but Chicago Fire have had their moments, and this tie is by no means over. Stay with us here on SoundersFC.com. We'll have analysis in a few minutes' time from Taylor Graham and what has been a hugely enjoyable first 45 minutes. And we'll continue into the night here at Starfire. At half-time, Seattle Sounders 2, Chicago Fire 0.
Brad! Midfield, Sounders FC. Middle name, Ray. Hates mushrooms. Loves scoring goals. Hates people talking in movies. Taurus, spirit animal, bald eagle. Brad! Ready to rain! Tickets, SoundersFC.com!
What's going on? I'm Jackie Montgomery with a Rave TV Extra. Well, it is Seafair weekend and the Blue Angels are back. And goalkeeper Marcus Hanneman, who recently got his pilot's license, got the ride of a lifetime with the Blue Angels themselves.
That you're entering at your own free will.
I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You think chance to go up, and it's something I think every little kid dreams about, especially growing up in the area with Seafair. You know, the Blue Angels have always been a part of Seafair. I'm just so excited. It's just unbelievable. I mean, the whole experience. It's the Blue Angels.
So this is for everybody back on the team and the Sounders. Marcus about to go up and have a ride of a lifetime. Woo!
60 knots. 80. 2 miles inbound for the overhead. 100. 120. 300 descending. 140. Channels from the departed F-18 runway 1. Citation 8 wind of fear, thanks. Citation 8 wind of fear. 200. 220. 240. 260. 280. All right, man, you ready?
Yeah,
here we go, baby. Ready, hit it. Going power, cat, 1152 for the overhead system. Safety tug, long ground.
Am I too old to get in the Navy?
Sustained inverted flag. Y'all strapped in?
Yep.
Find out. 400 set. Rolling in. Ready, break. We're going to track our target for about 6 seconds as we reach a solution. We're going to pretend that the bomb came off there, and now we're going to execute our safe escape. G's coming on, get after it. Okay, now we're going to roll up on a wing, see how we did. And G's coming on. Egress to target area. Boom. How's that?
That's pretty cool.
7.6 we got on that one. And there's just under 30 seconds, 700 miles per hour. Ready, hit it. 1, 2. Oh yeah, we're gonna get after it here. You ready? Here we go. Squeeze those legs, take a deep breath. Ready, hit it. Marcus.
Oh,
you
yes,
with me?
baby, I am. Oh, you got me.
Woo! Give a blast?
That was freaking awesome.
Good, good.
It was, I mean, everything I expected and more. I think, you know, from the takeoff, you know, it would they rotate 170 knots and then keep accelerating. You know, next thing you know, you're doing 300, you know, 6-7 feet off the ground, and then just straight up to, you know, 70-degree straight up, and you're just like, you've got to be kidding me. Just the sheer speed and everything about it, it was unbelievable. Well, I mean, this is the ultimate. I mean, to get a ride in the Blue Angels, it's, you know, I mean, you know, there's no amount of money that you could pay to just do this. It's, you know, you have to get invited, and the whole thing was just absolutely amazing.
Hey kids, do you have what it takes to be the next DeAndre Yedlin or Lamar Nagel? Xbox and Sounders FC invite kids aged 4 to 18 of all skill levels to take part in Sounders FC summer camps. Xbox wants all passionate and motivated young athletes to have the opportunity to train like the Sounders FC first team, which is why they're offering scholarships for families in need. To apply for an Xbox scholarship or for more information about all programs, visit soundersfc.com/camps.
Clint! Nickname Deuce! Loves bass fishing! Has tattoos! Even one in Texas! Loves steak! Hates beats! Loves beats! Forward National Team! Forward Sounders FC! Clint! Ready to rave! Tickets soundersfc.com!
Welcome back to Starfire here in Tukwila, just south of Seattle. The Sounders leading Chicago Fire by 2-0 in this US Open Cup semi-final for the right to play at Philadelphia Union for the 2014 trophy. Fans having a great time here. Good evening. You're with Ross Fletcher. Taylor Graham has kindly joined me again for analysis in this half-time break. Entertaining stuff. Do Seattle deserve to be 2 goals ahead?
Absolutely, absolutely. They've taken their chances well. They've created other chances, multiple half chances where that final pass was cut. Chicago is completely disorganized defensively, from my opinion, but you have to remember this is a Chicago side that was down twice to the Sounders in June, and Harry Shipp found a way to claw them back into this game, so this game is far from over.
You mentioned Chicago's defensive problems, but up front they've looked tidy, haven't they?
They have, and the combination of Harry Shipp playing underneath Quincy Amarikwa, he's dangerous. His runs have been well-timed. It's just that final pass that he's been unable to complete and get behind, and they've got pace on the wings too that have challenged our outside backs at times, and so it's good at Chicago team attacking-wise, but defensively they're all over the place.
Sigi Schmidt has been able to make so many changes throughout his years as the Sounders head coach in the US Open Cup. He seemed to pull another rabbit out of the hat today with the inclusion of Andy Rose in midfield, only his second start of the year. He's had meniscus surgery which has set him back this season. How impressive was he, not only with the goals, but some of the runs he's been making in midfield?
Ross, all I can say is welcome back Andy Rose. He's done fantastically. That goal obviously was great service from Marco Papa, but Andy's got a great motor. You know he's going to come in. It doesn't take long for him to regain his fitness in the game. He's box-to-box defender, and he combines well with Ozzie Alonso, and especially giving Gonzalo Pineda a rest tonight, he's a great individual to insert in that lineup.
And the Sounders have plenty of options off the bench if they want, with Obafemi Martins there. Chicago Fire missing Mike McGee up top, and for them really it's a difference, isn't it, in firepower if both teams want to go to their bench.
Yeah, but they're going to have to open up in the second half, much as they did towards the end of that first half. And if Chad Barrett and Kenny Cooper are able to combine the way they did in that first 6 minutes, it won't be too long before the Sounders are able to close this match off and potentially look forward to an Open Cup final, 5th in 6 years in Philadelphia in September.
Yeah, we're looking so often at Clint Dempsey and Obafemi Martins doing the business for Seattle. Totally different lineup today, and it was Cooper to Barrett for that opening goal. Kenny Cooper has 4 goals in the US Open Cup this season.
Right.
How is it that Ziggy Schmidt's been able to get so much out of the depth in his squad?
Well, the depth, this team was comprised, they were put together with the depth in mind, and you've got so many forwards up top that are capable of coming in at a moment's time, and you know that it was going to be a deep team, especially with the Sounders losing a couple players for the World Cup. It was built around the strength of that roster, not only from that first to that 30th man, but it's how they translate that when they get into the postseason, which they're inching towards right now, when they compete against teams at their finest, with their designated players on firing all cylinders. That's been the difference so far in the Sounders' last couple of years.
And let's talk about the big off-field news from today, the transfer of DeAndre Yedlin, who will be heading to Tottenham Hotspur of the Premier League in England for the start of the 2015-16 season. He stays with Seattle as a Seattle Sounder until the end of the year at least. The Sounders will receive a lot of allocation money, a lot of other money as well besides that. What do you read into the move for DeAndre Yedlin? So much to get your teeth into here.
You know, my first instinct is just a massive congratulations to DeAndre and to the Sounders organization. The fact that the Sounders built this, found DeAndre amongst their local talent, grew him within the academy system as that first homegrown player to ever play for their national team in the World Cup. It's a huge compliment and a reason why all players in the Seattle area should want to play for the Sounders Academy, but he's so young, he has so much raw talent. How he continues to grow over the next 3 or 4 years, that's what Tottenham's looking at. And they feel like he can develop better here, playing consistently week in and week out, an opportunity he may not necessarily have at White Hart Lane.
Yeah, he's getting plenty of experience with the Sounders, of course, and Adrian Hanauer, the GM and owner of Seattle, was talking today about the possible future of DeAndre Yedlin. Definitely here for 2014, may even be here until the summertime of 2015. That is to be reviewed at the end of this year. As for the money it brings in, of course, MLS don't disclose salaries, or rather they don't disclose transfer fees, but we know it's in the millions of dollars, and either way, Seattle get allocation money, which they can then use to pay down salaries and the salary cap. But also, I think for me, Taylor, the big win here is they get money to reinvest in the soccer operations of the club. What could that kind of money do for a team when they've been given it through a transfer like Yedlin's?
Yeah, well, the academy system's continuing to grow, and there's been rumors of the Sounders starting a USL team, which is going to continue and provide yet another level of development for those players who are trying to get game experience. Like you said, that's money that you're going to be able to reinvest into what's important, and that is the development of players here. The Sounders have a great job of bringing in that foreign talent, but ultimately it's predicated on being able to find, identify, and then grow your best talent that's locally based.
And if you put more money into that academy system, who knows, there might be 2, 3, 4 more DeAndre Yedlins.
Well, that's the investment, exactly.
And then you go on to looking at the college system. The college system is being remodeled, all being well, depending on what they want to do there. So not that it's a competing faction here, but certainly when you look at the development base, the talent base now that there is for soccer in the US, you seem to have 2 different pathways, but either way has to be a good thing for the game that they're looking to grow those young guys ever more.
Yeah, and DeAndre Yedlin is a great example of that. So is Harry Shipp for the Chicago side. He's in that conversation for Rookie of the Year, and it's all about how are those players continuing to develop. When they leave high school, is it going and playing professionally immediately? Some players, it makes more sense for you to go and get a couple years of experience in college. That's what Harry Shipp did at Notre Dame. That's what DeAndre Yedlin did at Akron.
Well, just looking behind us here, Taylor, the players are coming out for the second half. It's going to be Chicago Fire coming out first. So thank you very much indeed for your time.
Cheers.
We'll be seeing you again very soon. Taylor Graham, former Sounders defender, with us here on SoundersFC.com. I'm Ross Fletcher. I'll be back with you for the second half here at Starfire momentarily. Seattle Sounders leading by 2-0. Who will go through, though? Seattle or Chicago Fire for a place in the final at Philadelphia in the middle of September.
So the team's back out in this second half then. Just looking to see if there have been any changes made by either coach. And not for the Sounders, at least. And Chicago Fire keeping it as was then in that first half. A first half which saw Seattle get the goals through Chad Barrett and Andy Rose. 6th minute, 33rd minute officially. That's the platform for Seattle. There is Andy Rose and Chad Barrett, the 2 goal scorers. So for the Sounders, Fry in goal, the back four from right to left. Yedlin and Ibaba, Scott and the captain Evans in midfield. Nagel, Alonso, Rose and Papa. Up front, Cooper and Barrett. For Chicago in the red, Johnson in goal, back four from right to left. Palmer, Samari, Laurentowicz and Cigares in midfield. It's Ward, Watson, Kocic and Alex with Ship just behind. Ameriquois, here we go. Second half underway at Starfire. In the gathering gloom, 4,000 hardy fans rammed into this lovely little stadium. Quaint, if you like. Haven't seen too many trains rattle past us away to the left, and as I mentioned, that I can see one with its lights peeking through. Probably hear the rumble on our effects mic. So what has Chicago Fire got in the tank then? Has to be a winner tonight. It's do or die. There you go. Just trying to work out what the time is. It's the 8:42 to Seattle via Tequila. I am, of course, making that up. Chicago have been opened up at the back. They surely now have to take more chances. Can Seattle get through on the counter-attack? We will see. Fascinating 45 minutes or so here to come on SoundersFC.com. Ross Fletcher with you. I mentioned that match against Philadelphia Union, Tuesday, September the 16th at PPL Park. Zach Scott here with a handball on the edge of his own area, and an ideal opportunity for Chicago to try and get something on the board and change the dynamic of the game early in this second period. It's Harry Ship over the ball with that lovely right foot. Just waiting as Jair Marufo marshals the Seattle wall. Samari at the far post, and Laurentowicz will try and get that back in play. It's a goal kick for Seattle. More than 250 games in MLS, Jeff Laurentowicz. This is 10th season. Played with Clint Dempsey at New England Revolution back in the day. Here's Yedlin asking Barrett to chase. Through for the US international Sean Johnson. Johnson picked up his 4th clean sheet of the year in the win over New York. And he comes to the area and Zach Scott will clear. Andy Rose, 2nd goal scorer, up to the 1st. Barrett, little stretch for him. By the way, Chicago Fire, the only team Seattle have never lost to. 7-0-3 in all competitions, the Sounders. Alex, just checking out every blade of the artificial turf, I think, running the long way round. Missed a few games this year with a hamstring injury. Ship for Cigares. Amarikwa is offside. You could just see him straining at the leash. Almost like a greyhound in the trap, ready to be released to do a couple of laps. He has pace to burn, does the fireman. Not that he's a fireman, but the man who plays for the fire, you know what I mean. Though I'm sure he would be an excellent fireman. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Fry goal kick, free kick. Here's Alex. That's Jalil Anibaba out of play. He's got a chase on here. It's Harry Shipp. Doubled up with Zach Scott. And Seattle doing enough to win the throw in. There's the Tottenham-bound man, DeAndre Yedlin, really playing out his dreams at the moment. A professional for little more than 18 months. Brought up in Shoreline, close to Seattle, went to O'Day High School in the city. Part of the inaugural Sounders Academy intake. A couple of years at Akron. And now signed by a Premier League club. Play against the likes of Didier Drogba, Steven Gerrard on a week in, week out basis in a year or so's time. Scrappy start to this second half. Anibaba and Amarikwa going at it. That'll be a goal kick. Time to let you know you can stock up on all the latest Sounders gear at the Pro Shop at CenturyLink Field, downtown 4th and Pike, or the Renton Landing. And you can check out the newest Sounders merchandise this summer. Shop online as well at proshop.soundersfc.com. Here comes Kocic for Amarikwa, who was sprightly in that first half. He is a real bundle of energy, isn't he? Human dynamo. Loves to play off the shoulder of the last defender. Kocic. It's Grant Ward taking a tumble. Evans springing Cooper free from the throw. The hulking figure of Samari is across. And Samari again restored to the side for that New York win. Well, another rattle away to our left, another train passing by. Like London buses, you wait ages for one and then two come along at once. And that one was the express service by the sounds of things. Been and gone and a shot. Evans with the throw in here then for Seattle, who went back to the top of the Supporters' Shield standings at the weekend with that win over Houston. 13 wins, 6 defeats and 2 draws this year. 2 ahead of RSL and Sporting Kansas City with 2 games in hand. Nagel here fouling Kocic, and it's a free kick for Chicago Fire. Chance maybe for Lorentowicz to have another thrash at this one. He's claimed the ball. Nagel just getting the wrong side of Razvan Kocic. Lorentowicz picked the ball up, but it's Shipp who's spotting it. So it's going to be either those two or Kocic. And again, it's a whispering club in there. Tap for Shipp instead, and the wall does a very good job. There goes Shipp, running out of real estate. Throw in Seattle. Just looking to see if there's any action on the Chicago bench. And the substitutes are warming up. Goalkeeper is Kyle Rainish. Also there, Greg Cochran, he's a left back. Matthew Fondy, the former Chivas striker. John Kennedy Hurtado, ex of this parish. Benji Hoyer, and they got Obafemi Martins into trouble in the June regular season game. Long-time servant Logan Paws, and the homegrown defensive midfielder Chris Ritter. So not a lot of forward options for Chicago. For the Sounders, Marcus Hanneman's the backup keeper. There's Michael Azira. As Marco Papa is slashed down here by Lavelle Palmer, and it's a yellow card. Second man to go into the book. 5 reds in 5 seasons for Lavelle Palmer. That tells you a little bit about his character. So Michael Azir on the bench, Leo Gonzalez, Chad Marshall, Obafemi Martins, Gonzalo Pineda and Cam Weaver. Firepower if needed. Jaya Marufo is calling somebody over here, finally having a quick word before getting the game going on again. Yedlin jinking, cutting, thrusting, and then a rather full-blooded challenge from Gonzalo Cigares on Lamar Nagel, and he took that one on the ankle all right. And he's a braver man than I, getting up from that. See it again coming in from Cigares. It was the trailing leg that crunched the ball. Took the man as well. Here's Papa. Foul by Kocic. Free kick Seattle, they won't mind it there. 11 minutes gone in the second half and no change to the scoreline. Evans taking on Ward and then brought down by the Tottenham man on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. Are we starting to see the game get physical again? Zach Scott certainly trying to point out a few things. Almost a scissor tackle from Ward. It wasn't pretty at all. Papa over the free kick, drilling it towards Nagel, and Sean Johnson got a strong hand on it. Good goalkeeping, did what he had to do, and it's corner number 4 for Seattle. One of the more athletic, agile stoppers in MLS, Sean Johnson, still only 25 in his 5th season. He'll be knocking on the door for US honours, further US honours I should say, in the years to come. Papa looking for an Evans flick. Palmer gets it clear. Now Papa holds off Ward. Using that strength, Chicago fans know. Rose! 3-0! 2 for Andy Rose! First time in his career, he's got 2 goals in a single game, both from his head. And surely now, Seattle Sounders are heading for their 5th US Open Cup final. Dynamic combination. Papa to Andy Rose from 7 yards. He could hardly miss the invitation. Alex was too late to meet him. Joy unconfined for the Englishman. And that is surely that. Well, he's had to wait for his opportunity, Andy Rose, and boy, has he taken it. Really in microcosm how the Sounders season has shaped up. The strength in depth so good that players, whenever they get their opportunity, have been on top form because they know they won't get many more if they don't take it. And Andy Rose planting that seed in his coach's mind now. And they're hungry for more. Cooper, Barrett's offside by a good couple of yards. Didn't quite check his run and read the line. And Andy Rose now moves on to 4 goals in the US Open Cup. Our attendance, by the way, crammed them in again, 4,361. Ameriqua looking to torment Brad Evans. Plenty of pitch black shirts back. And Ibaba gets there ahead of Harry Shipp at the expense of a throw-in. Thank you to the more than 13,000 of you who are watching online. Half an hour to go. It would take quite the effort from Chicago Fire now to come back. Team this season who've only been good for 4 wins in 22 regular season games. They have turned it on in the US Open Cup. As I mentioned before, they love to own this tournament with 4 victories since coming into the league in 1998. It's a fantastic record. But is it coming to an end here? Their run in 2014, Seattle powering on to another final and potentially their 4th Open Cup title. It's a Chicago throw. Johnson's long clearance should be comfortable for Brad Evans. And Ibaba with the athletic clearance. And that's rolled off Lamar Nagel. Looks like Michael Azira is ready to come in for Seattle. There's head coach Ziggy Schmidt. He can afford a little laugh and a joke. But just to their left-hand side and our right as we look, Chicago Fire are making a change. And it is Matthew Fondy, the former Chivas forward, who's coming on for Grant Ward. So it'll be Ameriqua and Fondy up front, supported by Shipp. He'll tuck in on the left-hand side. Fondy with 4 substitute appearances this season in MLS. He is awaiting his first goal. Cooper, lovely flick. Ozzy Alonso's got in behind Palmer. Barrett wants it in the middle. Alonso trying to work an angle. Papa, he's excellent at that. It's Andy Rose, who's on a hat-trick, remember. Now Yedlin, who's well forward. Rare opportunity to cross. Barrett, Nagel, blocked by Segares. Comes back to Cooper. Seattle comfortable, controlling possession. Beautifully done by Rose. The slightest of skims on that to Yedlin. Cooper's header, Johnson away, Cooper's rebound, Johnson once more denies him. Instinctive stuff from the Fire goalkeeper, who is fighting a firefight right now. At the other end, Ameriqua will lash one. And the game peaking again. Sean Johnson performing heroics to keep it at 3-0. And the change now being made. And with 3 games in 7 days, Ziggy Schmidt will be delighted to be able to give Ozzy Alonso some rest, knowing that they are in a very strong position, and Michael Azira who started earlier in the year in the US Open Cup, will be a straight swap in the middle of the park. Here's Chad Barrett trying his luck. It's almost like a little A-tine off the edge of the green there. Chip and run. Chicago have to press. They're doing it with Americois. Chance again to cross the ball, and it's Azira's first touch, which puts it behind, and it's going to be the first corner of the night for Chicago Fire. And that will bring up the 6'4" frame of Bakary Samari into the 6-yard area. Jeff Laurentowicz is there too. It's a congested 6-yard box. Harry Shipp to Kocic. And Shipp bending that ball in deliciously. Still not clear. Palmer got his head on it. Then Nagel. And now Azira. Papa using all of his body strength to hold off his man and win the throw in. Barrett wants it quickly. Almost got there. Found its way to Papa, who's been easy and elegant on the ball. Cooper, chance to run here. Yedlin in behind Shipp. Can he measure it for Barrett? Lavelle Palmer with a vital clearance. And now the break is on. In the Sounders right back position, it's Matthew Fondy. Beats Anibaba. Looking far post to Kocic. Azira's back. Danger still not gone, it has now. It's an offside flag on Razvan Kocic. And a free kick for Seattle Sounders, who can ill afford to let Chicago back in the game, albeit 3-0 up in a position of some security. By the way, if you want to play like the first team, summer camp registrations are open. SoundersFC.com/camps. Sean Johnson almost losing the ball. Matt Watson. The freshman is Zira knocking that one out of play. Unrelenting atmosphere here at Starfire. Floodlights in full effect now. Yedlin forcing the error from Segares. Good hustle from the right back. And he's not gone yet. As we mentioned, that deal with Tottenham. Spurs not looking to integrate him into their team until the start of next season, which is about a year's time. He'll most certainly be with Seattle until the end of this year. And he has said throughout the on-off speculation about his move, which was confirmed today to Spurs, that his foremost aim is to win an MLS Cup with Seattle. Right now, he's 1 game and 23 minutes away from winning a US Open Cup, potentially. Alex, that's a short ball, it's Barrett. Cooper peeling away to his left, Nagel on the right, Lamar Nagel. Important tackle by Alex. Nagel hobbles away. Game stretching, opening up a little. Chicago will leave spaces at the back, inviting Seattle forwards, and then looking to pour numbers forward themselves. Matthew Fondy, the second half sub. Neatly done for Shipp. Alex. Zera doggedly in there, but it's found Kocic. Lavelle Palmer. Far post here is Cigares. Won't come down for Fondi. And Ibaba coolly gets it away to Yedlin. Dealt with that well. Nagel. Yedlin picks it up. Still going until Samari unceremoniously brings him down. And that's yellow card number 3 of the evening for Chicago Fire. No complaints really for Bakari Samari. See again here, Yedlin picking up the scraps, and he was just too cute. Samari was red carded last year, by the way, at New England after the final whistle. Rather bizarre turn of events, and he had a little bit of a go at the New England trainer. Not often you see red cards after the final whistle. 3-0 Seattle here. Barrett chasing this one down. Merriquat chasing with Anibaba. Good physical tussle. Now Papa, he's got Yedlin racing forwards on the right. 3 in the area. Barrett. Yedlin again in tighter quarters. Through Cigares. No foul given. Still Yedlin involved. And they'll have to get back now. Papa with the tackle. Crowd love that from their flamboyant Guatemalan midfielder. Brad Evans looks to curl on far corner. It's come all the way back to Barrett. Blocked right in front of goal by Razvan Kocic. Sean Johnson almost in fighting the rebound. And a 4th goal would absolutely kill this game off. Thanks for being with us, by the way, here on SoundersFC.com. Ross Fletcher with you through till the end. As it stands, we won't need extra time or penalties. Both teams going to extra time through this campaign. Although, as I mentioned, Chicago Fire's first game in the tournament was called off at half-time because of weather. Nagel's won the ball here. Barrett on, looking for Cooper. Nagel took a heavy hit. He's okay. As you can see there, a little exasperated he has been in the wars tonight. Here's a Merriquat. Brute his strength, but Anibaba hooks it clear. And then Anibaba gives it to Yedlin, who is pushed to the floor by a Merriquat. Meantime, off the ball, Lamar Nagel has been yellow carded by referee Jair Marufo, and I'm not sure exactly why. This is the incident with DeAndre Yedlin. Well, it's a puzzling one for Nagel, who was subject to some meted out treatment. Can only think it was an earlier foul, or maybe appealing to the referee for something because he wasn't given. Meantime, changes for Chicago Fire. Double change in the middle of the park. Chris Ritter and Logan Paws are on. And then the other change coming now is for Seattle, and it's Chad Barrett who is coming off, and Obafemi Martins is on for the final 17 minutes for his first US Open Cup action of the season. He was red carded at the weekend, which means he'll be suspended for the Real Salt Lake game on Saturday, so a chance to keep his legs in the game, as it were. Here comes Alex for Chicago. For America, still full of running, and Zach Scott does exceptionally well just to brush him off the ball. So the two changes for Chicago Fire, right in the middle of the park, in the heart of midfield. Matt Watson and Razvan Kocic, Ritter coming on. 2 balls on the field here, so we're pulling that one back. Unquestionably, Chicago hurt tonight with the absence of Mike McGee, who was suspended for a red card early on in the game against Atlanta Silverbacks in the quarterfinals. Their main goal-scoring threat not available tonight. They haven't been able to break the Sounders' resistance. Fondy, the overlap from Lavelle Palmer. It's a good ball. Michael Azir returns it behind for the second Chicago corner. Frank Yallop has played his hand now. He's brought on all 3 of his subs. In comes the corner from Harry Shipp. Headed away by Evans. Alex with the drive, but that's never going to trust Stefan Fry in a month of Sundays. So 15 minutes to play. Andy Rose in the 33rd and the 59th minutes. There is Rose. Seattle content now to keep the ball, take the time off the clock. Here's Fondy. He's got a little bit of room to roam. Palmer still full of speed. Finding Ritter. It's a heavy touch, and Evans can clear. Pause. Started all 3 US Open Cup games before this one. Logan Pause. Ritter for Palmer, who finished the regular season meeting between the two teams hobbling as Anangano gets a header in, or rather Ameriqua, my apologies. Juan Luis Anangano was sent off on loan to LDU Quito of Ecuador around a month ago. Designated player, striker who never really found his feet for the Fire. Nagel makes a run, expertly found by Papa. Cooper, Martins lurking with intent on the far post. Cooper going it alone. Never really got enough sting behind his shot. And Seattle will want to settle into a solid defensive shape. Barber's thrusting ball is far too long for Cooper. Seattle won't mind it there in the Chicago right back position, where it's not going to hurt them. Sean Johnson clear. Yedlin. And Ibaba towards Martins. Gets a tackle in. Cooper, beautifully backheeled. Burst of speed from Martins. In for number 4. Push wide. There it is. Cool, classy, clinical. Seattle Sounders are on their way to the US Open Cup final. Martins, the fresh man with the fresh legs and the pace showed. It was a lovely back heel from Kenny Cooper to set him up. The poise of Martins to wait for the challenge from Jeff Lorenovitz, and then arrowing the ball into the bottom corner. All made by Martins' tackle in the first place. And Seattle now just 1 goal behind their all-time US Open Cup record scoreline. And they might get a chance here to get it. It's Cooper. Martins up there. Andy Rose is still going strong. Towards Andy Rose, who's on a hat-trick. Sikares heading it clear. And Chicago's resistance now, well, the Fire's resistance is futile. Ten minutes to play. The Sounders fans are already celebrating. It has been a solid performance and then some by Seattle tonight. Chicago have certainly had their moments, but at the back they've been shaky. Shaky, which has been a problem of theirs most of the year, to be frank. And there's the man, Obafemi Martins, freshly on. Mentioned he won't be able to play against Real Salt Lake, but that'll keep his confidence up, keeping him in the groove. What is a very, very hectic run of fixtures for Seattle, because after Real Salt Lake, they've got a game on the Wednesday at home to San Jose Earthquakes. You can get your tickets for that game at soundersfc.com, where you can also lock in a seat for every minute of the action. In 2015, for a season ticket membership, you get a seat to all MLS matchups, including the over 40-year Cascadia rivalries. soundersfc.com, or you can call 877-MLS-GOAL. That is a poor foul. Gonzalo Sikares on Lamar Nagel, and it is as clear a yellow card as you will see, and pure frustration from Sikares. Rather on Yedlin, not Nagel. My apologies. And now here is Yedlin, back up, sprightly as ever, lovely ball, it is 5-0! It's Kenny Cooper again! His 5th US Open Cup goal of the season, he's out in front. Seattle have matched their record US Open Cup scoreline. They are hammering Chicago Fire. It's 5-0. Lovely ball in by Yedlin. The marking all night has been absolutely non-existent. It's like the Sounders players are ghosts wisping into the area. Chicago couldn't see the pitch black kits. Simply done, coolly done. And the Fire forlorn. Well, get ready. Tuesday, September 16th at Philadelphia Union. Seattle gunning for their 4th Open Cup title in just 6 years. It'll be their 5th final. Surely not 6 goals now. Martins, it's on for Kenny Cooper, in for 6. There it is! Oh, spectacular! Absolutely sublime! Seattle Sounders are roaring and raging their way to the US Open Cup final. Cooper with 2 goals in 2 minutes. It's a rout. Martins with the clever cut through. It was composure in abundance from Kenny Cooper. And it's a tennis score. And luxury of a final change. Marco Papa has come off now. And it's Leo Gonzalez who's come on. Well, what a night for Seattle Sounders FC. It has been a superb display of finishing. They have been powerful. Chicago Fire gamely putting up a fight, but in the end, no contest. And if it was a boxing bout, Frank Yallett would have chucked the towel in. Ameriquas won a free kick off Zach Scott. So 2 Seattle players are on hat-tricks. Rose and Cooper. Is there time for either one to get a hat-trick? Kenny Cooper has scored a hat-trick in the Open Cup before for FC Dallas. He's now on to 13 in the US Open Cup in total. Ship and Lorenzovic over this. It's going to be smashed wide by Lorenzovic. Stefan Fry probably had it covered. So what a performance tonight by Seattle. Kenny Cooper moving on to 6 goals this season in the US Open Cup. And that means he leads all scorers in this year's competition. And the 6-0 scoreline never before been repeated by the Sounders. A glut of goals. They have gorged on goals. Anybody want 7? Nagel. Martins for a 0. Maybe a case of playing time out. That's not a good ball. Michael Azera. It's Harry Ship going at Yedlin. Matthew Fondy staying onside. There's no one in the box, and I think that tells you everything, apart from Quincy Ameriqua. Tells you a lot about Chicago now and how forlorn they are. They have been battered, bloodied, bruised by a sheer powerful display from Seattle. Martins for Nagel, waiting for support in the area. Cooper coming up at the far post. Pulling it across towards Andy Rose. He's on a hat-trick, Rose! Sean Johnson, I think, had that one under his spell. Andy Rose getting greedy at 6-0 up on a hat-trick, and why not? Why not indeed? Free kick, Chicago. Matthew Fondy has won it. Seattle has scored 6 goals before. I remember a couple of years ago at Chivas USA, 6-2. Record scoreline for them tonight. Fondy. Seattle won't want to concede here. Cigares, good ball, comes out to Fondy. Just needs to have a go now. No time for pretty passing. Here it comes, Scott away. And Ameriqua, to his credit, still going. Fry can watch that one carefully wide. Seattle's biggest regular season wins. I mentioned 6-2 at Chivas in August 2012. They also beat Columbus at home in August 2011, 6-2. Never have they got a 6-0 scoreline, though, in a competitive fixture. And I just wonder if Philadelphia Union are watching this. It's a much-changed Sounders side, and one that has played to devastating effect. For Chicago, they'll be on the plane tomorrow, long way to Montreal for a regular season game. Seattle, the game's coming thick and fast. I mentioned Real Salt Lake on Saturday, San Jose at home next Wednesday. SoundersFC.com for tickets for that one. And then the trip to Portland Timbers, a Cascadia Cup clash in MLS on the 24th. But it's the ray-green flags that are flying highest tonight. 1 minute of added time. Harry Shipp for Lavelle Palmer. Well, Chicago just wanted to get some semblance of respectability. They have been battered tonight. Seattle Sounders have turned in a simply magical display. A record scoreline, hammering Chicago 6-0, and the Sounders marching on to their 5th Open Cup final in 6 years. They'll now face Philadelphia Union Tuesday, September 16th at PPL Park as they aim for a 4th trophy and the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup title again. Chicago Fire and their proud record in this competition will end for another season. The semi-final stage just too much, just too hot to handle tonight, the Sounders. Goals from Chad Barrett, Obafemi Martins, and 2 apiece for Andy Rose and for Kenny Cooper. It was devastating, simply devastating. The magnitude of the finishing by Seattle, they just kept on going and kept on going, and Chicago Fire did not have an answer. Well, the celebrations for the men in pitch black and red green. Chicago Fire trudging off now to their game against Montreal Impact. Let's have a look then how this game unfolded. Plenty of highlights to get through. It all started in the 6th minute with Kenny Cooper's pinpoint ball. Chad Barrett was never going to miss that. The Chicago Fire defence, as it was all night, largely chasing shadows. Andy Rose then got on the score sheet in the 33rd minute. A pinpoint corner from Marco Papa, and Andy Rose's first goal of the season. It was inch perfect himself. In the second half, the Sounders piled it on. Andy Rose from Marco Papa's ball in. And again, Sean Johnson left with very little chance. You thought at 3-0 the game was over. Seattle didn't want to settle for that. Obafemi Martins firing in the 4th. He started it himself, tackling on halfway. Kenny Cooper with a back heel to him and an unerring finish from Oba. And then was Yedlin's cross. Lovely ball for Kenny Cooper. And a textbook header back from whence it came. Yedlin under no pressure, neither Cooper, and it made it too easy for Seattle, and they weren't about to pass up that kind of opportunity. 5-0 it was until Martins returning the compliment for Kenny Cooper, and Chicago Fire's miserable night was complete. Seattle Sounders rounding it off with a startling display of forward power. And here's a footnote. Clint Dempsey, their designated player, highly paid player, most highly paid player, didn't even set foot tonight on the Starfire turf. The Sounders marching on to the US Open Cup final, beating Chicago Fire by 6-0.
Corey!
Thank you very much indeed for your company. Ross Fletcher here on SoundersFC.com. We'll look forward to Tuesday, September the 16th, the final at PPL Park, Seattle Sounders at Philadelphia Union. Can Seattle make it a 4th US Open Cup victory in only 6 years. We will see. Thanks for your company, and good night from Starfire. Seattle Sounders 6, Chicago Fire 0.